Let's talk about preparation for the next crypto bull run, and if this time is actually different, if it is or if it's not, how to prepare, because time is kind of running out. The bear markets don't last forever, just like the bull markets, and your time to accumulate is of course during the bear market, and the time to take your profits is at the top of the bull market. So therefore we first have to figure out, like, where are we right now? Are we on track with the cycles, and is this time actually different or not? And so how to prepare for crypto to really make the most out of it, and how I prepare. So let's get into that. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell notification, don't miss out on anything. I'm here every day, even now I'm freaking sick. I don't care, we have to work to make it. It will pay off. Patience get rewarded, man, seriously. So let's start with it. Bitcoin sitting at $29,500, give or take. It's going, you would say a little sideways the last couple of weeks, but if you look on the bigger picture, it's basically, in a little downtrend, as it's slowly fading from 31.5 to 29.5, but we hold up pretty decent still. And if you look at this yellow line right here, then you'll see that the uptrend is still intact. We had the first bounce here, the second here, the third here, and now we are looking to make a fourth. So this is clearly a trend. And what I think on the shorter term for Bitcoin, to discuss that real quick, is very important, is to hold this trend line right here. We have a lot of support right here though, because we have this yellow diagonal line. We have this red box that I've drawn here, which is basically the whole $28,000, $29,000 level, which was support over here already in 2021. We had support here before we really went down to these lows in this cycle, and we had a lot of resistance there before we finally broke out. And now we're going to see is that support, plus we have the bull market support band coming in slightly lower than that as well. So if you want to see Bitcoin going up, or at least if you don't want to see Bitcoin going down, you really want Bitcoin to hold at least above that $28,000 level, give or take. If it starts breaking below that, then I think we could go way lower, but it's far from that for now, although we have seen crazier days in crypto, of course. Now, how to prepare? Where are we? Is this time different? Please know that whatever the fuck I say is not the truth. Okay, it sounds a little stupid, but nobody knows. All right, I'm just speculating here like anybody else. You have good traders out there, they also speculate. Some do it better than the other. All right, but nobody knows, of course. Otherwise, it would be too simple, then it doesn't play out like this. It's like time traveling. Kind of, it's deep shit, but if you, well, whatever, I'm not gonna bore you with that, but that's not possible. However, the Bitcoin halving is coming up. We don't have an exact date, of course, it depends on the blocks, but around, March, April, somewhere, I have to check again, next year. Now, so far, and that's the blue line that I marked, so far the halvings have shown us that once we are at the halving, we go sideways or down for like 2 months, and then we really start the parabolic run, right? That was here, obviously the case. And in the last cycle, we had the halving as well. We went 2 months sideways and we started the parabolic run. However, what happens before the halving? Well, the red line is a year before the halving. And a year before the halving, what usually happens is we also go up. And in this cycle, we went up, well, pretty hard. In this cycle, we went up pretty hard as well, but we fell back down again. So this was pretty much, sideways. So we are now here. We went up a bit, right? Not as much as the previous cycles, really, but we went up. And now it can still go both places. What I find interesting is, of course, what happened before, it doesn't mean that it has to happen right now. Again, that's not possible, right? So basically, if people say this time is different, then yes, because every time is different, right? Like every time is slightly different than the other. It doesn't play out the exact same way. That can't. But if you look over the bigger picture and you zoom out a little bit and you just see how the market moves over the slightly longer term, you'll notice that this time so far is, well, not different. It's exactly the freaking same. And now it's the question like, okay, how is it going to play out over the coming months and years? Is it going to be different from now on? Well, I already want to say that I bet my money on the trends and the statistics and the chances of what we have seen earlier, right? In the last cycle, really, I thought, well, now this time is going to be different, so now I'm going to do that. And that got me so freaking wrecked. It's unbelievable. I lost so much money right there. And I'm happy with it because I learned my lesson. Like, you can listen to all these YouTubers, same as me, but if you do not kind of experience it, then it's not the same, really. So I listen to some other people, but I don't really care about them. That's kind of the thing. But what's quite interesting is this. So in the last cycle, what we did is after we came down that hard in the bear market, we found a bottom, right? We went up quite hard in the pre-halving year. And what is the pre-halving year, by the way? Well, so far, you know, it's with stocks. It's going on for decades already. And with crypto, as long as crypto exists in this last 14, do I say that correctly, years, is that we have these 4-year cycles, right? That's a bull market, a bear market, you know, go watch Wolf of Wall Street and whatever, The Big Short, like it's all out there, right? We all know about that. And the 4-year cycle is now creepy how good it plays out again. So what I compare it with is now we are in 2023. So, okay, July, right? Almost August. Maybe by the time you watch this, it's August. So how did it look in August, July 2019 and July, August 2015, for example? Well, if we look at that, then you'll see that July, August 2015, we were also going up. And we were above the bull market support band right here. And what happened in that period, we fell down, we fell below the bull market support band finally, and we made a lower low. You can basically say a double bottom, but it's like, yeah, let's say double bottom. In the last cycle, in this period, what happened? September, August, here we go. July, August. We were above the bull market support band, right? We broke out. We had our bottom. We broke out. Very clear. We went up 4x, right? 4x. It's incredible. 330%. So we went from 3K to 14K, right? That's twice as hard of a pump that we have right now. Better believe people here said this time is different and now it's a bull market. And what ended up happening in July, August, we came back down, fell below the bull market support band again, tried, and we crashed all the way back down to $4,000. For your information, we here fell 70%, right? That's the same, and it won't happen this time. I can not guarantee you, but I don't think that's going to happen. But 70%, I can even fucking do that. 70% would mean Bitcoin at $9,000. All right. That happened last time. If we now go to 9K, that would be the same as last time. Okay. Why do I think that's not going to happen though? Well, first, from the bottom, we also went up with 320%, right? We now went up with 106%. So the harder the fall, the harder the climb, the harder the climb, the harder the fall, right? So I don't think that that's going to happen, though. But overall, the structure is the same. The amount of percentages can be different, of course, and you know, less liquidity back then, so higher moves and all of that. Now we have diminishing returns and diminishing losses, but the structure is the same. Also, in that period, after we had that rally in August, September, we showed weakness, and we eventually fell down in, well, March 2020, which would be March 2024, right? Here we had our low in August already, right? So it can, like the time, you know, it's a big range, of course. But now we are still in the process of going, well, up, right? So now at this specific time, we are still somewhere in this process, although it is finally cooling down now. So you could say that we are now somewhere here, right? And it shows that weakness as well. Now, again, we are approaching the bull market support band right here. Yeah, what would suggest to me that Bitcoin is this time already here in the bull market if we have skipped this complete part, right? Does not really make sense to me. Now here it was a higher low, right? You could also see it like this, but these are just two cycles to refer to, so I can't really make a trend out of that though. But here it was, let's say, at the bottom. Here it was slightly higher low. Could it be that these are diminishing losses and that we now get a pretty significant higher low? Well, to be a little bullish, Bitcoin can maybe go to 20K, right? And then continue its way up. So far, that's most likely. And the thing is that people now say, people are bullish and on Twitter and on YouTube, like, bull season and I don't know. The thing is that, again, back here, people were way more bullish, way more. We did a 4x. People really believe we were in a bull market. Now I feel like people are tweeting it, but they also kind of try to convince themselves because they want it. But they're not really sure. Here, people were convinced. People were like, oh shit, this is bull market, I'm all in. And they got wrecked, right? Now, we did half of the move that we did right here. And people also say like, bull market. Why? Right? So far, it is still completely playing out the same. So if it is going to play out the same, then we can say like, okay, Bitcoin will fade the rest of the year, basically, right? Doesn't mean we won't get a green month somewhere, but overall it will fade a little bit, right? To 20K. Again, that's probably most bullish scenario, but maybe slightly lower. I think that the lows are in. I'm pretty, you're never sure, but I do think that the lows are in. Also, if you look at this, the ROI after a cycle peak, green is where we are right now, right? And you'll see that we didn't went that low as the previous cycles, right? The previous two cycles, Bitcoin went down quite equally compared to where it came from. Now we really, price-wise, had a way better bear market. And that also shows something, right? We had so much shit. COVID, war, recession, Voyager, FTX, Luna, like too much to call right now. And we still had the best bear market so far, ever, by far, right? So what the fuck does it take for Bitcoin to make a new low? One single recession or something? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But this recession could be the reason for Bitcoin to make this final move down, which we have also seen here and here. That could be the narrative, right? And if that's not the narrative, then something else will pop up. The price will do it anyway if it's going to do it. And whatever the news is going to be, that's news. That's just how it works. It sounds really weird, but that's just how it works. So I do think that Bitcoin will fade. And then whenever Bitcoin faded, that would be, I think, for Bitcoin, your last beautiful buying opportunity. Now, I'm not saying wait for that to happen. Because one, if you look at this chart, then basically this whole range was great to dollar cost. You cannot dollar cost the bottom, right? You can dollar cost your complete area, and overall you ended up in profit, right? So you can buy here already. Plus, I know I can be wrong about everything that I'm saying, and maybe this time is going to be different from now on, right? And then you haven't bought anything and you miss out. You don't want that as well. So in that case, I would say I'm pretty comfortable dollar costing the whole area right now, basically. But I am saving most of my money for when Bitcoin is lower. And if it doesn't happen, then yeah, fuck it. I'm left with some money. I don't care. It's not that I miss out or anything, okay? Then that's how I prepare when it comes to Bitcoin. I will get to altcoins as well. And something pretty interesting, if you put Bitcoin on the monthly chart, if you look at this, the monthly chart, you'll see the stochastic RSI, right? And the stochastic RSI is pretty interesting as well, because it kind of differs. Here, we are now going up, right? We are now just entering the overbought territory. Does it mean that Bitcoin is overbought? No, definitely not, because here we also just entered the overbought territory, and if you sold right there, you sold for $300, while if you waited for Bitcoin to leave the overbought territory, you could have sold it at 20,000. So that's a little different right there, right? When it's up here, that's where Bitcoin goes up, not when the stochastic RSI is going up. So that's one thing. But also here in this rally, so here when we entered it, right, Bitcoin already have seen its bottom, right, and we were already out of this shit. However, here Bitcoin was also going up, right, and that's when the price came down anyway, and we never went to the oversold territory, but we did made this low right here again. So Bitcoin can still do something like this, right? And that means in the meantime the price goes like that. So but I think it's quite interesting, as a lot of people also look at these RSIs, and I'm really a fan of it as well, but it's not really I don't know, it's not really convincing or anything like that. Now, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, also quite interesting. So if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, and this is more about altcoins, right? Because if you want to, you know, get rich with crypto, then in a bull market, it's better to do that with altcoins, of course. Then you want to know what the best time is to buy those altcoins, of course. Now, what's quite interesting as well, if we go back to the previous cycle. Now, what's interesting, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance at 4 years ago, so, you know, June, July, August 2019, you'll see this. So the Bitcoin dominance was stuck in a range right here between 60 and 50%, give or take. Kind of similar to, we were stuck in this range over here between 50 and 40%, right? And what we eventually did in this period is we broke up. So the Bitcoin dominance went up, and it kind of skyrocketed right here. All right, so people now calling for an alt season are kind of betting against the cycle, right? If you now say like there's now going to be an alt season, you're basically also saying that this time is different, right? Because here we broke to the upside. Bitcoin was going up, but also more money was going into Bitcoin from, you know, the rest of the market. So now we do something similar, right? We were in this range, we broke out of this range right here, and that we are now on the way to retest it. That's nothing crazy and that's nothing new, right? We didn't even really retest it, and I expect this to go down to 90 or 40, 49%, maybe even lower to 48.5 or so, right? But overall, the macro trend is obviously up. Same as what we did over here. All right, this is a Bitcoin season, guys. This is not an alt season, all right? An alt season is where the Bitcoin dominance goes down, all right? Just for you to know. So if people say alt season, then they say, okay, the dominance is going down. Otherwise, they don't know what an alt season is. Alt season is where altcoins outperform Bitcoin, right? It has nothing to do with altcoins on their dollar pair necessarily. Altcoins, however, on their dollar pair can still go up once the Bitcoin dominance breaks out here. Let's say, very hypothetically, that my whole assumption about Bitcoin that I just said was wrong, right? And that's going to be different. And that Bitcoin is going to, like, I don't know, 50K or so. And the dominance goes up with it. It can still be that altcoins stay kind of flat or go up a little bit against that dollar pair. Because, yes, more money is going into Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is also it's worth more, right? So altcoins could, let me say this carefully, it could be that they have bottomed against their dollar pair. Could, right? I don't think so, though. But it could be. Now, why do I say that I don't think so? Again, because I'm pretty much sticking to my thesis that the dominance is now finally, you know, well, that's not my thesis. That's what you literally see on screen. The dominance broke out, right? Bitcoin is owning altcoins right now. And that's also what you can see on this chart. The altcoin market divided by the Bitcoin market cap. You see altcoins are now getting fucked against Bitcoin. Right. But if my thesis about Bitcoin is going to play out again, that we do like all the other cycles and Bitcoin goes down a little bit or a lot, then altcoins are going to get wrecked, not only on the Bitcoin pair, but especially on the dollar pair. Right. Because Yeah, it's very simple. I mean, if again we look at the total 3 divided by Bitcoin, right? It's now low, so low, right? Here, it wasn't that low. Here it wasn't that low. Here it was way higher. But here Bitcoin was sitting way lower as well. And now that Bitcoin is higher, altcoins are like, But what would happen, sorry for the stupid explanation, but what would happen, you think, if altcoins are sitting already so low against their Bitcoin pair, and then Bitcoin is going down? That's not really good for altcoins. That's really not that good for altcoins. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. And you know, maybe that time is different about this. I don't know, man. It's hard to, you know, making these videos, people kind of sometimes expect that I predict stuff. And when I'm right, it's like, oh, great. And when I'm wrong, it's like, fuck you, fucking Fomotion, you stupid motherfucker. I lost all my money because of you. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just, you know, thinking out loud, and I happen to turn a camera on and I accidentally upload it on YouTube every day. Don't sue me. But yeah, if I look at this trend, it's very simple, right? Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair were sitting at the lows. Then they were at the highs. Then they were at the lows. Then they were at the highs. Isn't that weird to think that it's going to the lows again? I don't know, man. And that seems pretty likely. And all it takes for altcoins to get fucking wrecked is for Bitcoin to also go down a little bit while this happens, right? A little bit. So yeah, therefore it's not that unlikely to me that altcoins still could get very wrecked. Now, what I am doing, okay, to wrap it up, how to prepare, how I prepare, let me put it like that, is this. I'm mostly buy Bitcoin right now. Why? Well, one, Bitcoin, I think, will make you a lot of money. People always be like, Bitcoin, no returns in Bitcoin, it's bullshit, and you have to take some risk, otherwise you're never going to make it. Bitcoin is never going to make you 100x and this and that. Well, one, I'm not saying that Bitcoin will make 100x this cycle, but if you look at this cycle, for example, which was like not that long ago, it made you more than 100x. Right? And this cycle as well. This cycle, it didn't. Fair enough. It doesn't mean it can't happen again. Right? Bitcoin is always like, people underestimate Bitcoin. It's like, there are no returns. Bro, the last cycle, it made you like, the safest play ever. You were basically relatively taking no risk, right? And you would have still made like more than a 20x. How easy is it to 20x your money? Put $10,000 in, you can buy a Lambo with Bitcoin. Well, it's like a second-hand Lambo then, but still, it's not bad. Not bad. And of course, you have to buy the top, buy the bottom and sell the top to do that. But the market offers it to you, right? So I mostly buy Bitcoin. Then what I'd like to do is ride the Bitcoin wave mostly, right? Because I've showed this before, and this is really interesting, right? When was the last cycle? When was the best time? You know, thinking about, you know, hypothetically buying the bottom and selling the top. Okay, you won't do that in practice, but still. When was the best time to buy altcoins with Bitcoin? Here, right? It was D-low, basically. Well, when was that? Now, look, this was in December 2020. So last year, 2020, or last week, 2020, first week, 2021. That was the best time to buy altcoins with your Bitcoin. Okay, now if you go to Bitcoin where it was back then, let me get a clean chart. When was that? That was here, right? That was here. First week 2021. That week, the low of Bitcoin was a big week. The low was 27,000. The high was 41,000. Right? So that was when Bitcoin was more than halfway its bull run. Right? So again, I would be surprised if it's going to play out exactly like this, of course, right? But what's best to what you have done in the last cycle is buy Bitcoin. You ride it and make, well, depending on where you sold it exactly, but let's say a 10x out of it. Then convert that Bitcoin into altcoins, and you bought the low in the altcoin market, and then ride that bull market, right? So you make a 10x on Bitcoin, and then let's say, well, very bearish 10x on altcoins. That's 100x. Right now, again, in hindsight, you just look at the charts and it's like, oh yeah, if you just done that, then it's easy. But you can look at it and learn from it. Like, okay, what does the market usually do in what order? You can prepare for that, right? And you don't have to take all your money and put it in that exact basket and prepare for exactly that. You can also say like, well, it sounds reasonable. Let me take 20% of my money and prepare for this. So let me dollar cost 20% in Bitcoin, ride the Bitcoin bull market, sell that 20% of Bitcoin, and put it into altcoins and then see what happens. If it plays out, you make a fuckload of money with just that 20%. If it doesn't play out, well, it's in the bull market, so I don't think there's losing in there really, but then you didn't do your best with just 20%. So, it's risk reward. It's how you want to play it. But again, so far, this time is really not looking that different though. Now, if we look at the altcoin market, then I let me put it like this. Look, the altcoin market is still under the bull market support band, right? And it depends on where you look at it, right? Because if we now look at July 2019, that's a little different right here, because there the altcoin market was already above its bull market support band, right? And this was the period where it fell below it again and where it was going down on the way to make a lower low, right? In March 2020, right? So if we would have do that this cycle, then we will see the low on altcoins in around a small year from now. Could be, right? However, this time we were not really above the bull market support band. Yeah, here we were, kind of, right? From February until May, and now we fell below it. So you can say that we were here February, May, well, kind of, right? Above the bull market support band, right? And then fell below it. And now we are just getting rejected. Oh, quite looks the same though. If we do that, if that's what's happening right now, then you would see the altcoin market going down, right? It's so freaking similar, right? But if we do see the altcoin market going down, then either it means that one, Bitcoin goes sideways or maybe up, but that the Bitcoin dominance goes up really hard, or it means that Bitcoin will go down. Both cases is how it played out last time as well. Too much says to me that altcoins are not breaking out yet. And again, I could be wrong, man. Maybe you look at this video in a month from now and you'll be laughing at me, right? I don't know, man. But so far, I have said like for a year right now or so, like, guys, I don't buy altcoins right now. I'm buying Bitcoin, but I don't buy altcoins. And that's beautiful because I look at the altcoins on the Bitcoin pair and what it did for the whole year. It's been going down, right? So I've saved myself so much money. I made money, right? People in altcoins basically lost, or at least they have missed out hard, right? And of course there are these exceptions, but I'm not even like, you can chase the exceptions. That's not really what I'm doing right here. So yeah, but I'm kind of, really careful with this stuff right now. The altcoin market, it just doesn't look that good for now. And the best time will eventually come, right? And even again, people that bought altcoins here in December 2020, they had the best entry ever, right? Last week of 2020, best entry ever. However, if you look, last week, 2020, was here. On the dollar pair, it wasn't the low. But still, this was the best entry ever. Here. Sorry, that's bullshit what I'm saying, 2020. Here. So although altcoins were already way out of their bottom, still this was the best entry ever, right? Why? Well, because if you rode this little wave right here, if you bought it with dollars right here, it doesn't matter because you would have made a lot more if you bought Bitcoin here and rode this wave. Bitcoin went up way higher right here. And then you made money with that and then convert that Bitcoin into altcoins right here and then ride the altcoin season. And you made a killer out of it. So people focus too much, in my opinion, on altcoins when you should not. I 100% agree. Altcoins will make you most money in crypto. 100%. But your timing is important, right? It's like people always look these YouTube videos. I know I see what kind of videos that I make get most views, and it's all about altcoins and these altcoins. And people always look up the 5 best altcoins to buy right now. While if you really want to make most money, you should be thinking about your timing, when to buy something, right? Timing is key, not the asset itself. Right, you can buy the best altcoin ever, but if you buy it at the top anyway, you're getting wrecked. So it doesn't really matter, right? I hope this video was useful. You know, these charts all come together. They're all saying the same thing. You can consider playing that a little bit. And if you do want to be in altcoins, like, oh yeah, what I wanted to say, very important, by the way. It's easy for me to say because I already have altcoins. I want to be completely honest about that. However, I do not have altcoins because I think that altcoin is going to make me a lot of money from where it is right now. I have mostly Launchpad tokens because I'm participating in new pre-sales, right? Like Sophiaverse, for example. Look what it did. You know, these coins, they come from nowhere. There's nobody here to sell the token. So if I buy it right here, who the fuck am I offering myself to be exit liquidity, right? Nobody, because I'm the first to buy it. Hypercycle as well. I bought it here, right? It's now here. So therefore, I'm, for example, in Seedify, an engine starter, and these coins will eventually go up, but they can also go down with the rest of the market. I don't care. I don't care. I made, I think, like $130,000 in 2 months in the bear market by really not investing that much. Okay. And with What Do You Mean, we do the same thing. So go check out my own token, What Do You Mean? And yeah, this is kind of bear market resistant for now, so I don't know what the fuck is going on right here. But basically all the tokens are locked and staked, so nobody is really selling this. But with What Do You Mean, we collectively invest in these pre-sales, right? So we invest a bunch of money that you as an individual person might not be able to. So we are the VC, and you can invest in the VC, stake your tokens, and you get your profits from the projects that we invest in. So we already made like $50,000-$60,000 with 2 pre-sales, right? In the bear market. Well, can you imagine what's going to happen if in the bull market we have 2 pre-sales every week, right? It's going to be insane. So check out What Do You Mean on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko. There's a link down below if you're interested. Like, and it sounds very hypocritical. Like, oh, you say don't buy altcoins, but then you say buy my altcoin. Again, I am in crypto pre-sales and in launchpads because that works, and that's what our utility is based on, right? If you have a certain altcoin with a specific utility that doesn't care about this bear market, then be my guest. Overall, I'm saying if you want to buy altcoins because you think the altcoin itself is going to go up, then this whole video is relevant for you, right? So yeah, do with it whatever you want, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your bell notification for the next one, and I'll see you soon.